Yesterday I found out the microphone wasn't working, and then I got soaked in the rain in Cullen, and so my usual jumper for walking around and making videos is still drying out. So it's now the next day, it's now Saturday morning, so I thought I would retrace some of my steps in the village, and we're now down by Fiddle Rock, just come up from the harbour. It's a beautiful day. It's a little bit windier than it was yesterday, but let's I'll talk you through it. Here's a tribute to the local fish, the salmon, made out of mosaic tiles. And here, I afloat. It's all afloat is the caption for Portknockie, or the slogan for Portknockie. So information boards. This one's about the Green Castle on the left. So there you can see the sort of flat promontory. That seems to have been occupied as a settlement from the Iron Age times, down to when the Vikings used to come and cause mayhem in 1000 AD. And they've found burnt remains of timber walls, which show that there was probably a Pictish fort. And then this is called Three Creeks Shore. There's our friendly fishing boat again. The rocks are made of quartzite and slate, and was formed sort of 650 million years ago. So you can see there's very sharp, sort of straight edges on it. And they've been widened over the years by erosion, and also chiseled away in order to make boats on the shoreline. Beautiful with the heather. There's no one around this morning so far. It's just nice to come and relaxing, just come and listen to the birds. And straight up there in front of us is the Arctic Circle. Sort of over that direction is Norway. That rock is actually called Shitten Rock, S-H-I-T-T-E-N. I don't know whether it's anything to do with what the birds leave behind or not, I don't know, but that's its name. Another angle of Fiddle Rock. So walking up from Fiddle, around the promontory, we're going to head over there to Cullen. The great thing up here is the light. The light is amazing. So we'll say goodbye to Fiddle. So you can see the Hill of Maud in the distance. And we're going to go down there, walk all the way along the beach. It's a long beach to Cullen. It'll take about 40 minutes, I guess. I don't know whether you can hear, but there's a skylark. It's probably about 100 feet in the air. Goes up, sings its song, protects its nest. Here there's a sea of bracken. Now bracken is actually, I think, is one of the oldest botanical species. It's prehistoric, so not that I've seen many T-Rex in Portknockie or Cullen. A few dinosaurs maybe, but you know, it's the sort of thing you see from Jurassic Park. There's a huge field of it. So Ginny's well is just up here. Finished the first bit of the descent around the traverse. It's quite narrow and rocky at parts. Here's Ginny's well. It's a fresh water spring. You can drink water. Lots of people do it. Here's your proper Scottish thistle. Look at that. Beautiful. The tide is a long way out this morning. It's a big sandy cove, so it's probably half a mile to the village from here. Past Cullen golf course, very good golf course. Links, of course, up in this part of the world. Yeah, when you come walk along here after a storm, the amount of detritus and flotsam and jetsam. There's some nice pieces of driftwood. Always amazes me. You can sit and watch it for hours. The water draining and making its own channels. Yeah, you can understand how rivers are formed when you look at it. How it always finds the shortest point. Eventually you have meanders, horseshoe lakes. You can see there the sort of the brown promontory, the rock. And if I swing round, you can see the two rocks there. They're known as the Three Kings, and legend has it that the Scottish King Idgolf, a Norwegian king and a Danish king all died and buried around here. So the area, this is called Three Kings, this area, and there was a big battle. We'll go and see where the battle took place, down by the river. It's not really much of a river, it's more like what they call here a burn, but this was one of the last battles to repel the Viking marauders. Happened in Cullen. Here's two of the Three Kings, and it's Cullen golf course. And a look back from where we've come from. When I come to Cullen, there's always something I look for every time I walk along the beach. And if I turn around, you can see there's a tennis ball that's been stuck there for years and years and years. And I noticed, actually, it's been joined by another one there. It's the entrance to Cullen. It says welcome to Cullen. They've actually done well putting up information in this village. And there's the famous Viaduct. So the train used to go from Elgin essentially to Banff, all part of the Inverness to Aberdeen line, really designed to carry herring initially, and it was closed in the late 60s after Beeching got his hands on it. This time of year they're waiting for the fun fair to arrive. Bits and pieces have arrived already. There's a new free water dispenser. This is Cullen Burn, where in 962 AD it's believed that the Battle of Boards took place either by the burn or very close to, as Boards is a part of Cullen. It's where King Indolf, King of Alba, the historic name of Scotland, and Norse pirates led by the sons of Eric Bloodaxe, I know which name sounds cooler, fought. Indolf was killed, however the Norsemen were also defeated, and it led to the end of Norse rule in Scotland. Well, I'm walking now in an area called Seatown. This is the old historic fishing community of Cullen. Because don't forget that the whole coast here was pretty much dedicated to herring fishing for 100-150 years. And they used to live in smaller communities close to the port. And so the houses are quite jammed together. Typically, you had a family in one house, and then when the eldest son got married, they added a bit on. So I'll try and find one that has got that addition, if I can. See them sometimes. But if you see behind me, that's Seatown over there. So the houses with the end pointing towards the sea. And this is where I am. Castle Mount. There in the distance you can see the second part of the viaduct and the last part going up into the town. In the harbour you can see a lot of these mounds. These are ragworms, I think they are, or lugworms. There, you dig them up and use them as bait. Unlike Portknockie, vessels here are stranded at low tide. No chance of going to catch mackerel or lobster or crab today, not at the moment anyway. All the lobster and crab pots waiting to be loaded. That's quite ambitious if you're going to catch that many. Here's a close-up of one of the vessels. So you see they're very rudimentary. You basically stand on the bridge, maybe one seat. There's the engine cover. Let's put the lobster pots on the back, and off you go. That one's a little bit more sophisticated. It's got a winch system. This one, you just throw them overboard. It's a nice work of art. Local lobster, immortalised. And here's a view over Seatown towards the viaduct. Beautiful contrast of colours. I said there would be dinosaurs because of the bracken. We'll walk up to the town square through under the viaduct. It's actually quite an arty place these days. Cullen. Great fish and chip shop here. Here's the town square. So there's a nice hotel in the village. Lots of coffee shops, art galleries. It's a nice place to come have lunch. So I've walked through the village, come to the Moray Coast Trail, and to walk back along the old railway tracks. This is all new. This wasn't here when I came last time. So here we are, going to Portknockie, up on the trail which used to be the old railway line. We'll go past Cullen Bay Hotel, which you can see in the distance, walk along the side of the golf course. They've really renovated this extremely well, I must admit. So I'm going to go up to Castle Hill first. In there, behind those trees, is Cullen House. It's now a private residence, but the gardens and things are open, I think, on a Tuesday and a Friday. Here we are at Castle Hill in the Royal Borough of Cullen. So it's been here since, there's evidence since the 12th century. And a lot of it's now been renovated. So here I am, Castle Mound. You can clearly see, well, the mound with the tower at the top. It's got a fantastic lookout. Yeah, Cullen has got associations with Robert the Bruce. I think his wife died here, and also with the Jacobite rebellion. The Jacobites ransacked Cullen House, I think in maybe 1745, which ended up as the battle at Culloden against Duke of Cumberland and his merry men. Here's a great view of the Bins of Cullen, a 320-metre hill which is viewable from everywhere. It's nothing to do with the local landfill, it means hill in Scots Gaelic. The Temple of Pomona in the north end of Cullen House grounds. This neoclassical 19th century folly is named after Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruit trees, abundance and gardens. It was designed by renowned Edinburgh architect James Playfair in 1788, and it was finally constructed in 1822 by William Robertson, North East Scotland's first neoclassical designer and architect. It served as a tea room to the ladies of Cullen House, and the physical statue, which was in the centre of the rotunda, was lost, no one knows where or how, between 1939 and 1945, and the floor of the rotunda collapsed into the tea room, and after the threat of demolition and a local outcry, the structure was stabilised in 1981. Have you ever seen anything quite as green? Now, the human eye can pick up more shades of green than any other colour put together. So there must be zillions of shades of green here. And this is what we're leaving behind, going on our walk back home. Stunning day. On the old railway track now, heading home. A couple of miles to go. This has all been recently asphalted, tarmacked. It suffered a lot during the landslides and the floods, but it's been completely renovated and it's great for community use now. Common hawthorn, so these will turn bright red in a month or so, I guess, and if you see, they'll have thick thorns on it. Danger to schoolboys. And talking about danger to schoolboys, that's the schoolboy's nemesis, which is a stinging nettle, which boys who used to walk past in their shorts on the way to or from school, or playing with their mates, always used to get stung on the leg. And then somewhere there should be dock leaves, because you used to lick a dock leaf. There we are, see the big green one there? That's a dock leaf. And if you lick a dock leaf and rub it on the sting, it soothed it. And nature's a fantastic thing, because you tend to get both together. Here's a sycamore tree. We used to play with those as kids. If I can find the seeds, there we are. See the seeds up there? They blow like a helicopter in the wind. Lots of bees around this morning. There we are, there's a western honeybee. So someone here has got apiary around. That's not for gibbons and chimps. It's great to see. There's been a dearth of bees over the last few years, and it's good that people are taking interest in them again. Beautiful meadow flowers, wildflowers. Here's one of the markers on the trail, which says Cullen Centre, 1/4 mile to the right. I think it says 1/4 mile, and Portknockie, 1 3/4 miles. Actually, it says 1/2 mile. So again, the maths don't add up, because the last sign said 2. Playing golf. Scottish pastime, invented in Scotland, of course. And they have a big tournament up here every year, where they play different courses every day for a week. It's very popular, a lot of people come up. Purely amateur. Halfway back to Portknockie, you can see where I crossed the rocks earlier, going past that promontory, but now going on the old railway still. Must have been quite an exciting journey, going right along the coast. This is only a small section of it, but hopefully over the months and years to come I can show you a bit more. The Cullen Bay Hotel has been there since 1924 and stands on the former site of Farscain House, a residence of the Lairds of Gordon dating from 1677. Legend has it that it was a drinking den because it was outside the parish boundary, whereas Cullen itself was very heavily into the temperance movement. So I've made it to the turn off, if you like, off the path back into Portknockie. This is one of the old railway bridges. So it's been a good walk. Come all the way from over there. Cullen 2 miles. Lawn bowls, this is Portknockie Bowling Club, is a very popular summer pastime between villagers and playing leagues. It's played on a bowling green and it's divided into areas called rinks. And the idea is you roll a small white ball, a jack, and then each team has a series of bowls which are off-centered balls to try and get closest to the jack. And at Portknockie Bowling Club you can get a beer in the clubhouse. What's not to like? Well, we're not in Spain. These are the Portknockie palm trees. How they survive, I don't know, but they do. They've flourished over the last few years. Most of these houses, the big houses here, these were fishing boat captains or fishing boat owners' houses. The actual fishermen lived down the hill in the smaller houses. Some of them are quite nice. In the centre of the village is the War Memorial. It commemorates those who sadly gave their lives in both the Great War 1914 to 1918 and in World War II between 1939 and 1945. A lot of the names are still names you associate with families living in the village. Many are from the Royal Navy, as most of the eligible fishermen were called up because of their seamanship skills and sadly perished in the conflict. You can see so many seamen, skippers, engineers and deckhands, much more than you can with people who were in the Army or the Air Force at the time. Walk down the hill towards home. Got the fish and chip shop. Fantastic fish and chips. the Victoria Hotel, which has recently been done up, doing very well. And you can see how close we are to the sea. One of the village picnic areas. Always looks nice with the beautiful summer blooms. Here's an interesting little bit of local history in someone's garden. There's an anchor and 2 bollards. The anchor here was raised from the wreck of the SS Moray, which sank on the 23rd of November 1893 with all hands on board off Cullen. And the bollards there were raised from the wreck of SS Nar, which sank on the 13th of December 1904 off Kingston on the Spey Bay. Before I got home, I wanted to show you this. It's an old fisherman's house, and if you look, the stairs, they don't go anywhere. Now, why, may you ask? Well, it was originally the upper window would have been where they stored the fishing nets. So they hauled the nets up there and stored them. And with that, I'm home in time for lunch. Thank you very much for joining me on this JB's Journeys, where we've discovered Portknockie and its harbour, the beautiful Fiddle rock, and the historic village of Cullen, all in Moray in the north of Scotland. Please join me again when we discover people, places, history and nature, either in Scotland or on my global travels. I'll leave you with some of the photographs I took along my walk this morning and yesterday, and so please, if you can, subscribe, and I really do hope we can be together soon. Thank you.